Okay, good morning, class. It's Tuesday, March 23rd, and today we're going to continue talking about adaptations. Adaptation means to change or adjust to survive, right?
Yes.
So yesterday we talked about animal adaptations. Today we're going to talk about plant adaptation. So at home, you need to have your science notebook out, taking notes. The ones in class are putting together another booklet, cutting and gluing, and putting this together. So, you guys are going to be doing the writing part and I'm going to highlight what you guys need to write, okay? The first thing we're going to talk about is what are adaptations, okay? So, kind of like what we talked about yesterday, what are adaptations? It's something that the plant or animal has to do in order to what?
In order to live, in order to make babies.
Okay, reproduce, make babies, or what else? You said live, but what's another word for live? Survive, okay? So the very first one that you're going to add is the one that says changes in plants, in a plant structure, or actions that occur over time in response to its environment. Okay? Changes in a plant structure or actions that occur over time in response to its environment. Okay? So you guys are going to glue that in. You guys at home are going to write that underneath where you put plant adaptations. Okay, so plant adaptations are different than animals, right? Because yesterday we talked about how animals will migrate. What else do?
They hibernate.
They hibernate.
Sleep. Reproduce. Sleep. Reproduce.
Hibernate means sleep. Okay, they may have quills to protect them from predators. They may have camouflage to hide from predators. Okay?
Change colors.
But plants adaptations are different, okay? There are 3 different purposes of plant adaptation. So this is what you need to write next. Purpose of adaptation. Number 1, to protect itself. To protect itself. So I'm going to put that here.
Yeah, that's true.
So a plant is going to adapt to protect itself from the environment or other predators. Just trim that. Okay? So protect itself is what you write for number 1. Okay? Another purpose is to get or conserve food and energy. So think about a plant that lives in the desert. To get food and energy, they might have special features like roots that go far down in the ground to get water, because in the desert it's not really going to rain a lot. So that's an adaptation they have developed to help them survive in the desert or in their environment. Okay? Okay, another one is to make sure the plant can reproduce. So that's the third one, the third reason or purpose for adapting. To make sure it can reproduce, which is make more of itself. Okay, now we're going to look at some words that have to do with adapting. So how they protect itself, how they conserve energy, and how they reproduce. Okay, phototropism. If you look at this picture, what do you notice about that plant?
It's dead.
It's not dead.
It's getting sunlight.
It's getting sunlight. Why is it curved?
Because it's facing towards the sun.
It's facing towards the sun, okay? So phototropism means that that plant has adapted to curve and grow towards the light. Because why do plants need to have light? To grow and get energy, okay? That's how they get their food also. So that's an adaptation. We call that phototropism. So we're going to connect this to the third box. An adaptation that allows plants to grow towards a light source in order to generate more energy. Okay? So all that means is plants will adapt by growing towards the light. You'll even see trees in a forest curved because they're trying to get light.
Like on my tree next to my house. It's like old because something is blocking it.
Yep, something's blocking it, and like in a forest, other trees are blocking it, so it might curve a different direction so it's not being blocked. Okay, the next one's called dormancy. Okay, this is a state of rest when a plant stops growing in order to conserve energy. Kind of like how animals hibernate. They're doing that to conserve energy, not burn a bunch of energy because there's no food around in the winter. Okay, so a tree can do the same thing. We call it going dormant or dormancy. That's all that means is they're resting, they're not growing, they're going through a period where they stop growing to save energy. Kelsey?
I have a pecan tree. It's just like that one, but it's with pecans. But last year it wouldn't grow in October because of the birds eating the pecans and stuff. It wouldn't grow.
Yeah.
It's dead. D-E-A-D.
Yeah, sometimes animals or it can hurt plants and trees, so we've got to help protect them from animals too so they can continue to grow and reproduce. Okay, so the next one, dispersal. If you look at this flower, what is happening right here? It's not dying. These are seeds coming out. Okay? So why would they want their seeds to come out like that?
To bloom.
Instead of just staying inside the flower, if they have seeds that are coming out and spreading, what is it going to mean it's going to happen, Evangeline? It's going to reproduce. Good. So dispersal means a plant uses this method to spread seeds. Why do they spread seeds? To reproduce. Okay, and the last one, we call this a taproot. This is the ground right here. Taproot grows way down deep into the soil to get water. Okay, so that's an adaptation that helps plants withstand drought by reaching deep into the soil to get water. Who remembers what a drought is? We talked about that when we did, what did we do a couple weeks ago? Oh, and we talked about ecosystems and food chains. What is a drought, Bryson?
It doesn't rain
Good. A drought means it doesn't rain for a long period of time, so these plants will develop long roots that can get water deep down in the soil. Okay? All right, let's flip to the next page. Now we have two different categories of adaptations. We have physical and we have behavioral. Yesterday when we talked about animals' physical adaptations, that had to do with their physical body, right? Like their fur or their outside appearance. Okay? So that's the same thing for a plant. It's talking about their structures on the outside of the plant. Okay? So now, those of you at home, you're going to have two sections. Again, you're going to have physical. Split it in half. And you're going to have behavioral. Whatever I highlight is what you guys will write in that section. Okay? So physical adaptations are features of a plant structure that help it survive. Okay, so structure being the key word there. Talking about the outside of the plant, the physical structure of it. Okay, now let's look at all of these boxes that we have. Leaf shape. Do you think that has to do with the physical structure of the plant? The shape of its leaves?
No. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's the outside of the plant, the physical structure. Okay. What about night blooming? If a plant blooms at night, does that have anything to do with its physical structure? No. Okay. Storing water. Is storing water something that has to do with the plant's physical appearance? No. Dropping leaves.
No.
No. Thorns, is that part of the physical structure?
Yes.
Yes. Phototropism, when it leans toward the sun,
Yes.
is that part of the physical appearance?
No.
No. Bright flowers.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thick bark.
Yes.
Yes, that's the physical structure of a tree. It might have thick bark to protect it. Okay? So those are the four you need to write in your science journal.
Can we do the other ones?
Okay? So the physical structure, and then you need to, underneath the physical side, you need to write leaf shape, thorns, bright flowers, and thick bark. How might bright flowers help a plant survive or reproduce? Anybody have an idea? Oh, I'm sure somebody at home knows the answer. Bright flowers, if it's bright, is that going to attract more insects and birds?
Yes.
Yes. Do insects and birds help flowers?
Yes.
Yes. They spread.
Like bees suck out the pollen of the plant.
Okay, yes, they spread pollen, which then helps it grow and reproduce.
And butterflies, they do the same.
Thick bark. Why might a tree need thick bark?
So it can be protected.
Protected from what?
Animals and stuff.
Animals. What about weather?
Yeah, weather, so it won't blow it down.
Hmm.
Like a tornado has. I thought that's what
No, that's only for the online kids.
Yeah, this is very dangerous.
Okay? Now, so physical has to do with the actual structure, like thorns, shape, flowers, and the bark, thick bark. Okay? Behavioral has to do with their actions, something they do to survive. Okay? So the last thing you're going to glue in, or the last definition you're going to glue in, is the one that says special actions or functions that help a plant survive. Okay, so see the difference? Physical has to do with their structure, meaning their appearance. Behavioral has to do with their actions, things that they do to help it survive. Okay, so one thing was phototropism, meaning leaning towards the sun to get light.
Night blooming.
Okay, so make sure you put that underneath behavioral. Okay, another thing they might do is to drop leaves. That's an action, okay? It doesn't have to do with their appearance. That's an action, dropping. They drop leaves. Okay? Storing water. They might store water because they don't get a lot of rain. Thank you.
In the desert, it doesn't really look like it rains.
No, that's why it looks dry, because in the desert they don't get a lot of rain. So you notice what plant is on the picture for storing water.
Yeah, the bird.
It's a cactus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the last one, hold on, sweetie. Night blooming. Okay, so those are the 4 at home. If you're at home, you are watching this video, you need to write in your science journal. Okay. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for now. You can put this little booklet in your work in progress folder.